Hey everyone, Eric Watson here, freelance writer, player, games writer, for recorder of videos, and a tabletop role-playing aficionado. Welcome to the Monday edition by Bi-Weekly behind-the-scenes DM-only live stream of Crafting Icewind, in which I build and prepare for our next session of a Rime of the Frostmaiden. If you are playing characters of Robin, Frey, Celeste, Edmund, or Thimbleweed, this stream is not meant for you, but for the rest of you, please welcome yourselves, assuming of course you're okay with spoilers. Stream our D&D sessions live on YouTube every Friday. Watch all of our sessions and reviews here on the channel. You can follow me on Twitter at Rogue Watson and join our official Discord server with invite link in the description below. If you would like to support the channel, please check out patreon.com/RogueWatson. For our campaign, we use Roll20.net, and for streaming, I use Open Broadcaster software with Streamlabs. I literally just wrote in from a softball game, first softball game of the season, that ran a little bit long, which of course it did. I'm still wearing the jersey. Go Team Havoc. And they tied, so it wasn't a loss. Dual wield bows. Oh shit, there's a crane fly. It's a crane fly. Why are they? They're everywhere. Yeah. They're so nasty too. I don't know why we just got taken over. The whole neighborhood is just full of these crane flies. Oh my gosh. It was seduced by my light up keyboard. CG! Dual wield bows thimble. I am here. Yes, you can super chat is definitely one way you can support, or you can go to Patreon if you would like to. Brandon, are you actually this new music? No, it's not. I let it run too long. That's my bad. Are you at Disneyland or World? Either way, I'm jealous. Welcome, folks. Thank you all for being patient with me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Unleash havoc and let slip the dogs of war. Ooh, I should be saying that next time. That's a good war cry. Wreck havoc. Yeah, that's a good one too. All right, when we make signs, we'll have to come up with signs for that. Wreck havoc. Yeah, and it's it's havoc, HAVOC, so we should have wreck. That's just WREC. Wreck havoc. Like the kids say protect. Right? No? They don't say protect? Okay. Okay.
They say it.
I don't say it. No. Okay. Okay. Alright, we are going to talk about some Icewind Dale here, but I appreciate all it so much. World this time. I have never been. I have been to Disneyland a couple times in my life. I've been fortunate enough, and although it's been a while now at this point, we need to go back. Never been to World, though. I'm jealous. We actually got to finish the library last time, which was amazing. I thought it worked pretty well. If y'all have any questions, feel free to shoot them at me. Platinum patrons have access to all of my notes, and Silver Plus patrons will probably get a version of the library once I figure out how to do a good format for like mini layers or adventure encounters, because I definitely think there's some value there in just turning it in. I mean, the living spell idea was such a cool thing to do. That came out of this campaign. I didn't come up with that, but I kind of ran away with it with the library because I didn't like the library that was in place here. And I'm in danger of like going through and changing every one of these locations, and I really didn't want to do that necessarily. It just happened to be that way. I mean, House of the Arcane we ran as is. Chain Lightning I modified the hell out of. The towers I'm using Expanded Towers of Aetherin, so those are all changed. And now we're going to probably talk about the Arboretum here, because that's for sure where the players are going to go next. And I'm looking at maybe doing some changes there. So as written in the Arboretum, that Y10, because I mean, good lord, we're going to spend so long in Aetherin. Although if you notice, the players through Valish and Nass, and now through apparently an Ice Devil that I have to deal with, which by the way, if all of you are caught up on the last session, feel free to give me some ideas on what to do with the Ice Devil that Valravn has basically hired to accomplish all the things that I thought I was going to have Valish and Nass do. The players don't trust them, which is fine, they shouldn't. But now I've got this other spinning plate I have to worry about. I got to worry about this Ice Devil roaming around too. I thought as one really hilarious twist that the next time they see Valish and Nass is just in the body of the Ice Devil. Like, they ran into each other, they attacked it, and then she used her power to, like, possess it. Because she's got whatever kind of bullshit DM powers that I want her to have. Ostensibly, it's kind of a ghostly power that she can possess people. I think ghosts can normally only possess humanoids, but maybe she can take it a bit further. But obviously, Valish probably wouldn't be okay with that, since they're kind of an item a little bit, and that would be fucking weird to have her possess the body of this hulking insectoid creature. Maybe he's got a certain fetish, though. We don't know. But it would certainly be funny, because that would be a huge upgrade for her. So it's like they gave them this body of this creature. Although, on the other hand, maybe if they defeat him, then the Ice Devil becomes another creature they can fight. I don't know. So that was my initial thought process, was to do a bit of a twist. And then as a DM, that lets me just combine those two danger things into one spinning plate thing. So, but the good news is, it sounds like the party's really interested in just having me, the DM, through these DM NPCs, basically take care of this half of the board, and probably take care of this half of the towers, which I was already on board with not running mutation and probably enchantment. I'm less happy about skipping evocation and illusion. But I can see why, in the interest of time and pacing wise, they might want to be skipping some of these. They already got the trophy for evocation, so that one won't be a case of having to go back. And illusion was just a pure role-playing scenario, but I guess we'll see when we go there. But for now, we're still making our very meticulous way clockwise around Aetherin. So next up is the Arboretum, because that's where they know they need the first rite of the arcane. They were not able to fully complete until they get a wand from the Nether Oak. They must... What was the actual arcane? I'm trying to remember now. Is it... Do you have to take the wand? Chamber of Disjunction. Shield thy heart with a wand from the Nether Oak. So this is something I mentioned several times in the crafting streams, which is a piece of wood from this tree, does that constitute a wand, or do you still have to actually to craft it? Because it literally says, and this is from the book, we're not on Expanded Towers of Aetherin, we're on the book right now. To complete the rite of the Arcane Octad, they must craft a wand from the wood of this tree. It tells you how you can get the wood, it never tells you how to craft the wand. So that's part of the stuff that I'm having to expand this with, because there was no notes on how to craft the damn thing. It just said there's a treant here, and you can sneak up to get the wand. You can, if you wake it up, you can still convince it to get the wand, but only if you perform nefarious magic with it. He's apparently an evil-aligned NPC, and he just wants you to be evil, which got a bit of a thing about that. And if he attacks, he summons needle blights from the ground to assist it. Obviously, we're talking level 13, so we need to scale this up for sure. I do have a map available for this thing. Did I get this map from this one up again? Ice Devil may get some hits in, but they would destroy it. Yeah, they probably would. They're pretty high level wizards. Which is why they could, oh, that's true, yeah, banishment. Maybe they want to possess the body. Evocation is awesome. Oh, the tower? Yeah, or excuse me, the school, the the school of wizardry. Evocation is awesome. Yeah, no, I do think it's awesome. I think it's a fun idea. That's the lightning, the trap with the ochre jellies, and it can kind of split them and stuff. My only concern is, again, all the expanded towers of magic are for level 9 PCs, so a lot of this is me having to scale things up. I don't know if a room full of ochre jellies would really threaten my PCs that much. And then, of course, there's just a pair of Big B's hands in there, which we just fought a bunch of those. So, and then you ultimately have to like turn in the. Well, that's an interesting twist actually, because even if my NPCs go and try to complete the Tower of Evocation, they won't be able to finish it without the trophy. So they might come out and be like, "Hey, we couldn't do the Tower of Evocation because it required." And I think you can figure. You're supposed to be able to figure out from the context of that tower that it requires the trophy. So that would be a good excuse for them to have to come do it. Illusion, you could almost say they could also fail because I don't have enough people with them to do it, but or I could just do it just to do it. I don't know. Ice Devil should do one that they need and force them to co-op one bad encounter with a bad contract, maybe. Yeah, that could be interesting. I'm always leery about saddling up with too many NPCs at one time. Crafting a wand is a good activity with our necromancer friend. True. You know, I always forget they can just make Valen do things. I didn't even put her on this map. I don't know why I didn't do that. It's funny how useless she is in combat, which, you know, if you notice, I almost only use cantrips in combat unless things are going really sour, because I definitely don't want her to show up any of the PCs themselves, and clearly she's not meant to be that strong of a easy. I think she's only supposed to be like maybe a 6th or 7th level wizard, which for my level purposes is pretty low, but she's kind of hilariously low level. This Arboretum map is from, maybe I don't have it pulled up anymore. This one. Yes, it is. Okay. It is from, I will share that again in here. Got it from... and what I was thinking of doing, Jelly split from slashing damage frame would go insane. That's true. I still CR14 would smash 2 wizards. I don't know, man. These are 2 very powerful wizards. Valish is basically the Evoker wizard, which is like hilariously powerful. CR9, he can do 3 arcane burst attacks plus 7, an average of 25 force damage. That is hilarious. And he can do that at range, at 120-foot range. That's not even a spell, that's just his auto attack. And in his spells, he's got Lightning Bolt, Mage Armor, and then that's not even counting what she can do, and she's got like... She can just possess creatures. She's basically immortal. She can just possess creatures, and then she's got all their abilities, and if she's in ghost form, those give her some other abilities, but it's just DM bullshit in terms of what she can do, and I've been putting it off, because she'll be like one of the final big bads that they fight. Also down with Evocation in the school, yeah. So, my ideas for the Arboretum is, first of all, I almost kind of like the idea that this creature's already awake. And talking to them, so it's a bit of a social encounter. And then just, I don't know, I think that's more interesting than the stealth one. And then of course Valravn's probably going to say his spiel and convince it, and then maybe I can tease the fact that this thing's not going to be happy about it unless they promise to do like evil bad things. And I could make him almost a really hilarious melodramatic thing. It's like, what kind of evil things are you going to do with it? You know, just really hamming it up. Or like Lonely Tree who hasn't had anything to do, and he's just kind of an asshole. But like a really petulant one. And then the goal would be, it's not a big deal to get the wood. Right? That's almost, I kind of want to make that the twist here. Like, it's not a big deal to get the wood from him, because I figure, you know, Valravn can convince anybody to do anything. The trick here will be crafting the wand from the wood, and there's thankfully on this map a little crafting table, and that's something that our friend can even explain, is like the wood, you know, you must channel the proper energies into it. I hope you have somebody skilled in the arcane arts, blah blah blah. And then they'll probably want Edmund, maybe they'll want to give it to Valen, but I would think Edmund, literally being the artificer, is a perfect candidate to do that. And then the big twist, and maybe even the Nether Oak can reveal this, is like, you know, be warned, the energies it takes to craft tend to make things uneasy around here, or something, alluding to the fact that there's going to be a bit of an interesting wave-based attack here. I don't know, we'll have to talk about the balance, but I just kind of threw a bunch of plant creatures on the map, which, how random is it that we're in this ancient lost city in the frozen caverns, and yet I have an opportunity to use a bunch of plant monsters, which is like, yeah, I want to do the Arboretum thing, that sounds cool. Guys, on the token map, I don't know why. Let's go back on GM layer, please. GM layer, please. In other words, we could have it where we treat the Nether Oak as a social encounter, and then if they appease it enough, maybe it isn't really involved in the fight. However, crafting the wand is going to take a fight. The idea being, there's going to be one person crafting a wand and making a check. And they need however many checks to succeed. I don't want to make it too tedious. The only problem is I probably can't start spawning things until after they make the first check. So, in other words, they'll start the thing, you know, they make the first check. Whether they succeed or fail, monsters spawn, and then we start combat. So they've already got one check done. Oh, that's true. Valen can use Blight. She used it once against the whenever the Dryad went down, which was still a very fun twist for me. That was ended up being a hilariously memorable moment. I should write that down in our memorable moments. I've been writing them down as they come because it's much easier to do that versus going back and trying to remember things. I don't remember what session that was. It was definitely the final one of the Caves of Hunger. But I did like that event a lot. Just to give you a tease, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 memorable moments written down on my bullet point list. Because I think if you recall, I did that with Tomb of Annihilation after we ran that full campaign for 2 years. I did like our top 10 memorable moments as kind of a fun, like, here's our greatest hits or something. And obviously I would love to hear input on that as well. So I figured a chance to use the Carnivorous Sod, which I threw at my patrons during our very first patron D&D game, which are not very powerful. I could, I guess, make that. But I mean, it's supposed to be like a survival wave-based thing, so I don't want to throw too much at them. Although, if you think about it, you know, wave 1, it's possible they already have one success, right? Because nothing happens until they make that first check. So let's assume they make all the saves, even though that's not necessarily a for sure thing, and I can try to put the DC somewhere. But assuming they put their best person on it, you know, even a 15 is probably going to be doable. I think it's going to be an Arcana check. I don't know if there's like a tool that is used for magic crafting specifically. What is the skill check for crafting magic items? I don't even know that on the top of my head. Guessing he's going to have like at least a +5 to do that though, so you assume a DC 15, he's got at least a 50% chance of success. Like those odds. Again, assuming they make Edmund do it. So, by the time enemies spawn, let's say they've already got one success, and then on, assume Edmund's turn, he does another success, and then we do round 2, we can have more enemies spawn at the end of round 1 / beginning of round 2. And then he could just do a success. And then you got to decide, once they craft it and all the energies are stored, do I then end combat, or do you still have to fight off all the rest of the monsters? I don't know. Maybe you can, like, hold the wand and use it. Maybe you can use the wand's action or something to temporarily... I don't really want to make the wand magic, but maybe that's just what it does in this case. It just turns off all the plants from eating you. I could scale up the sod. It's not very strong with a +4 to hit. I mean, it's only a CR1. I was going to throw like 5 of them on there, but they probably need to be a little bit more powerful than that. The Carnivorous Sod didn't move on its previous turn and hits a target with a grass trip. It can make one attack with its bite as a bonus action. The bummer is it can't move on its previous turn. It does have to hit with its grass trip. And then it can bite. Kind of like throws them onto the ground and then bites them. A lot of things have to have happen. I need to like double their attack rate to give them a chance. Hitting, I feel like. Just, let's at least give them a +6. Odds. Prone. Prone is good. And I may just ignore the didn't move on the previous turn thing. They also absorb spells that affect plants and gain temporary hit points, which is kind of cool. Fought those at level 2. Yeah. I mean, 5 of you fought like, how many of them? 2, I think? So, I wasn't, you know. It's all relative. Their AC sucks, their hit points suck. I mean, they are designed as minions, for sure. And I'll have them just pop up. Now, I could do it as a surprise round. Because that would be surprising. They're literally a bunch of Carnivorous Sod popping out of the ground, so that would help them, and then I would have them pop up wherever the players are so that they could get their maximum things. And the funny thing is, again, the Nether Oak may not even join in on this fight. It may just be like taunting them and joke, like Jabba the Hutt back here. It's, you know, if they've roleplayed everything well, and Nether Oak's like, oh, I'm in it for the show. Or if they piss it off, then it can obviously do its things. Or maybe I'll just have it do some stuff just for funsies. I think its entangling plants is probably the best thing, although that sod would absorb it and heal. Why are the plants attacking? They might have the plants reacting to the creation of a malevolent wand. Yeah, kinda. I mean, yeah, I was gonna play pretty fast and loose with the Y's here, if we're being honest. I don't know, the creation of a wand from wood from the nether oak is, maybe it's literally drawing energy in from the plant life. Maybe it's actually like absorbing the energy, and the plants are reacting violently to that. So it's like animating plants around them. Either it's literally animating them, or the plants were already alive and now they're just pissed off because you've got this you're trying to steal energy from it. So I wasn't gonna be too literal about explaining how it works, because the nether oak, again, I want to play as an asshole. So, but he'll probably tease things like, oh, the plants around here don't take kindly to the crafting of the nether wands. So that was round 1, was going to be the sod. I could also include an assassin vine in round 1, in case we want to go hard. A big question here will be depending on how many successes they have, because that determines how many rounds we're going to end up doing. So, for example, if they make that first check and they fail, then I know I've got one more round than I normally would. Whereas if they keep making successes, then I've only got my bare minimum, like maybe 2 rounds. They'd have to kill everything, yeah. And their oak talk all slow like Treebeard. Do you think that would be entertaining? I could. I'd just like an asshole Treebeard. Magics irritate the ground around us. Yeah, that could be fun. I do like the Assassin Vine stat block a lot. That is from Tomb of Annihilation. Even though it's only a CR3, but it's got 85 hit points. It can constrict as an action, which grapples and restrains. Restrain is the big one. And deals 66 poison damage at the start of each of its turns. Or it can make basically an AoE entangling effect. Both of those are pretty cool. So I don't even have to scale that up. I like that. And I figure we can also just spawn fucking treants. Or basically the animated tree stat block, I guess, is what it would be. Which is... And again, this thing's not even necessarily doing the things. You could just sit there and be laughing and taunting them the whole time. This is Keeper the Grove from Monster Manual Expanded, I believe. Treebeard, but evil. Yeah, I'd have it be like it's actually like sucking the life force out of them and like drawing the energy in. That could be interesting for sure. Yeah, animate trees. They only have the slam action option, which would be fine. I figured baseline right now, we've got 5 of these carnivorous sods, which are supposed to be pretty weak, but just kind of a pain in the ass creatures to just trip and bite people, knock them down. And then I've got 1 assassin vine. I could do a second one if I really want to go hard. And then I've got 2... I've actually got 4 on the map, but I'd figure probably just use these 2 as probably the last ones that get spawned in. And then I really don't know what to do if it's more than like 3 rounds. Because I'm assuming, at this point, they're going to get at least... Let's assume, all things come in 3, right? They probably need 3 successes. But again, they could have 1 before combat even starts. Assuming they don't... Yeah, because that makes sense. The creatures wouldn't start spawning until they start doing the ritual. So let's say they need 3. Which means the fewest amount of rounds it could take is 2 rounds. That means they make the success, then combat starts. Surprise round. I guess I would get a surprise round, but then it would be a regular round. And then on the wand crafter's turn, they would be able to make another check, let's say another success, and at the end of the round, I spawn the Assassin Vine. Maybe something else, because that would be... Maybe it needs something else, too. Ooh, Shambling Mound, Brandon suggests. And then let's say another success, and then it's over. I don't actually spawn anything else. So it might be the treants never actually come out if they do all their successes. And then the question I want to ask you all is, should that immediately end everything, or should we then have to go through the motion of actually finishing this fight? I'm tempted to just have it be, once it's made, like all the plant life starts shying away and fleeing, and Or maybe it's just like an explosion of energy and all of them wilt and deteriorate, and even the nether oak kind of harumps. It's like, oh, I hope it was worth it or something. Like, I really don't even want to. I'm almost tempted to not treat him like a combatant. Treat him like just an NPC or something, unless they really do things to piss it off, and then it'll use the full force of its stat block, I think. Let's look at the Shambling. I remember Shambling Mounds. No joke. I want to say CR5. And then the thing suggested Twig Blights. I think those are going to be too strong, or too weak, sorry. That's kind of what I replaced the Carnivorous Sod with. There's also a Greater Shambling Mound via Monster Manual Expanded. They are CR5. I always thought these as more of like swamp creatures, but I guess they're just viney things. 136 hit points. Weirdly has lightning absorption. I'm not sure where that comes from. Boy, that would be a good one to put in the lightning fields, wouldn't it? The ochre jellies. It regains hit points. 2 slam attacks, and it can engulf if it hits with those. So we could maybe spawn an assassin vine and a shambling mound. Is that too crazy? I feel like if you know you're gonna be able to eliminate them all by completing the ritual, which is basically what they're doing, then I feel like I can go more difficult on the combat than I normally would, because their whole goal is just protect the person doing the thing. And I'm hoping that's a dynamic thing. It's a tricky thing in D&D where one person is like, hey, you just have to make this one skill check every round. That's all you get to do. But it's like the important thing to do, because in this case, like, you have to do that for us to win, or more and more powerful things are going to come in. So you also don't want to make it too like this long ongoing process where one of the people, or it could be Valen, is making a skill check while everybody else gets to do the fighting. And yet you've got kind of the most important job. Alright, I'm not opposed to using a Shambling Mound. What does the greater one look like? So maybe I can spawn an Assassin Vine and a Shambling Mound in round 2, and then if we need a 3rd round, then the 2 Treants can animate. If we need a 4th round, man, I don't know. That would mean they've gotten hardly any successes. Oh, this thing is huge. It's just the same stat block, it's just beefier. 220 hit points. Slam attack is plus 10. 38 plus 6. Nice. Yeah, I don't have a... Right, go continue. Yeah, right. Go pretty hard because it's a load-bearing wand. It is. Thank you. A load-bearing wand is... Good way to put it. So, shambling. Yeah, I like the idea of Mr. Shambles coming out of vegetation and shit. Hit points for you. No, I didn't. 95, okay. Rolled high for both of them. That can be, so first round is still the sod, still pretty easy, but just a bunch of pain-in-the-ass creatures. And then second round, we'll do the vine and the mound. Both of them, it's kind of, I mean, all plants, really. Like, trying to think about, I want to have a diversity of plant creatures, but when it comes down to it, they're all going to have various, like, entangling abilities, I think. I guess you could do, like, flowers that shoot things? Maybe? Like, from a distance? That'd be a pain in the ass, but I don't know, is there a stat block that's like that? Flower, but a turret. Search by plant, I don't know. And then the treants, which are further out. Just these 2, I think. Or, well, fuck it. We'll do 3 treants. These 3 right here. And then maybe we don't have any more creature spawn after that. I don't know. Unless we just do more. I could start grabbing more tree. I mean, yeah, we could just go crazier and crazier with it. Try searching by type of plant type. Else. Plants. There's something I haven't used much of in this campaign. Certainly used a lot of plants in Tomb, I feel like. Was that one flower that turned people into corpses? I guess it's kind of similar to the plot of Last of Us in a way. That was a fungus. Uh, spoilers, I haven't actually watched the show. I've heard it's really good. I played that first game back in the day. I've not played the second one. Rock are the mushroom people. A range attack is only a +3. Radiant pellets. Corpse flower, yeah. Yeah, they're all like trapping plants. I need bazooka plants. Awaken shrubs. I remember the ghouls. Underground mushroom with death burst and shriek. Oh, it's like an alarm system. Ha. Okay. Also, there's a couple here in Wild Press ones. Camp Pastry, those are the ones from Wild Beyond the Witchlight. Bulbous Violet has a tendril, which is also grappling and restraining and acid damage. Yeah, is Corpse Flower the one I was thinking of earlier? No, that's way different. What is a Corpse Flower? Get that crane flies back, you asshole. You earlier. Corpses. Nah, this is too much. I mean, it looks cool, but reel people in. It's a roper then at that point. An aggressive fungi. I think that might have been Princes of the Apocalypse. Sounds familiar. A while though. Oh boy. Another thing that grabs people. Plants are all about grabbing you. Yeah, there's really not. I don't necessarily need high CR ones. I just need something that doesn't try to grab you. Or just has basic attacks. Now everything does. Oh, Cobalt Press, come through for me. And it also just engulfs people. Oh boy, it catches fire if it takes fire damage. I'm judging all these books by their covers by just like reading the names and seeing if it's something I'm interested in. Tendriculose. Or, yeah, those are the ones from. Or from. It kind of shoots things, doesn't it? 5 feet. No, it's all within 5 feet. Damn it. It's also CR half. Pygmies, Vine Lords, Vine Troll Skeleton I remember being pretty good, but that's barely a point. Mentioned Woodwoe. Those are just little like, yeah, wood creatures. I think didn't Chris use those in his campaign? Yeah, I was thinking just some kind of simple plant thing that could shoot from afar. Interesting. That one over. Touch. Yes. Speak. I mean, I guess I could always come up with something. Plants come up and start shooting at you. That looks. Viper Vine. I really have to come up with my own frickin' stat block for this? Picturing like a plant thing that just belches out like globs of acid. I don't know if anything does that though. What do a pyric pod thrower? At this point, I just need artwork that looks it, and I can try to do it myself. I'll do it myself. Okay, okay. Flaming seed pods, go on. There we go. I don't know if it needs to be flaming. 5d4 fire damage. The pod thrower lobs a flaming seed pod at a point it can see within 60 feet. The seed pod explodes on impact and is destroyed. Each creature within 10 feet of that must make a DC 15 dex save, taking 5d4 fire damage on a failed save or as much half damage as successful ones. Like that's a CR7 thing? Really? Use flaming seed pod twice. Or 3 grass blade attacks. That sounds like a Pokemon move. Grass blade. 4 flaming seed pods. Used flaming seed pods may regrow each turn. You have to regrow. 10 hit points at the start of its turn. Grapple move from the ground. Okay. Doesn't seem like it deserves a CR. I mean, I think it should up its damage, but that's pretty close what I want. I mean, it's firing something at range. I don't know if it seems too exotic to have something throw flaming fireballs, though. Doesn't that seem a little too random? Thinking acid would be more interesting and more thematic. Bad thing is the artwork clearly displays flaming seeds. But the stat block is pretty legit. Maybe I can just take that and copy it to a different creature and turn that into roll acid thrower. Bane Vine. Really just a vine. With tentacles. Yeah, I might have just come up with something. Something that, yeah, this looks like a generic flower, and I can just copy some stats over to it. Oh, this one actually just does psychic damage at range, 120 feet. And it can do 2 of them. And whenever it takes damage, each creature within 10 feet succeed on a wisdom save or take 2d6 psychic damage. That's also pretty nice. Okay, what are you from? Psychic Gloomflower. Creature Codex. Okay, it's Cobalt Press. Well, that could. It doesn't really do the AoE like I was thinking, but could certainly work. Guys. The goggles, they do nothing. Think about the Gloomflower. It also, oh, okay, I didn't even read, I gotta finish reading the stat block. Corrupting Visions. Each creature of its choice within 60 feet and aware of it must make a whiz save. On a failure, a creature is bombarded with visions of its fears and anxieties for 1 minute. Takes 2d6 psychic damage at the start of each of its turns and must spend its action to make one melee attack against a creature within 5 feet of it, other than the Gloom Flower or itself. Creature can't make a melee attack, it takes the dodge action. So that sucks, it loses its action. Creature can repeat the save at the end of each turn and the effect on itself on a success. Success, the creature is incapacitated. Wait, on a success, the creature is incapacitated by hallucinations until the end of its next turn, but isn't bombarded with visions of fears and anxieties. Jeez. A creature regains. Oh my gosh, this has so much like fine print in how bad this is. It feels like overkill. So if they fail to save, they take psychic damage at the start of each turn and they lose their action and are forced to attack somebody else or dodge. If it makes the save, it's incapacitated until the end of its next turn. Which that one means. It means you can't take actions or reactions. So you still lose a fucking turn. Whether you succeed or fail, you lose your next turn. That's crazy. Right? Am I reading that right? On success, a creature is incapacitated by hallucinations at the end of its next turn, but isn't part of the visions of fears and anxieties. I assume you also don't take the damage. Yeah, because being failure and being bombarded is what makes you take the creature that is reduced to 0 hit points by this psychic damage specifically falls unconscious and is stable. That creature regains consciousness and suffers permanent hallucinations. They are a bit overtuned. You know, fun fact, I just got noticed that they are redoing the first Tome of Beasts. They're kind of updating it and I guess cleaning some stuff up. So the permanent one feels fun. I don't like the success you're incapacitated either. I mean, that's some like that's I'm a DM and that feels like DM bullshit. It's like, wait, okay, yeah, you made the save, but you're still knocked out for your next turn. Like, what? That's awful. I mean, if you really want to make it bad, just be like they have disadvantage on their next turn or something. Like, to give them incapacitated on a success is kind of ridiculous. 2d6 is really low damage, but the problem is what it does, which is a great effect. The fact that it takes your turn to make you attack somebody else. Pretty huge. We could even keep it at DC 14. Pretty low. It's also, you know, it's you do that or their Psychic Strike, and it's on a recharge. I'm just going to get rid of this, like... You know what we'll do? Well, I was going to say it takes half damage, but it only takes the damage if it actually has... if it fails. That's not a bad idea. To punish players when they succeed. Which seems so terrible. I made the save, man. And they're like, but still this happens. I mean, the one that is usually fine with people is like, okay, you take half damage, but none of the horribly debilitating effects. This one is odd because it's like you take no damage, but you take a different debilitating effect. I was going to change it to take half damage, which would be like nothing. In fact, I'm thinking about upping that damage a little bit. Let's make things 3d6. And we'll make it a DC 15. We'll scale it up a little bit. A success. Creature. Momentarily shaken. How about that? It has disadvantage on its attacks, checks, and saves till the end of its next turn. There we go. I think that's a lot better. Right? So on a success, you're not taking any damage. You just have a temporary debuff where you have disadvantage on all your shit till the end of your next turn. So that way, as a DM, it still feels like it's worth doing the thing that's the save or suck. Because it could be just a debuff for them. Of course, if you do it to Frey, she just recklessly attacks and then just attacks for normal and destroys me anyway. That's the risk that we take. That's how you fix that ridiculous creature. Which is this? Well, say that. Same 3d6. Oops. 15. So basically it does its psychic strike whenever it's attacked. It also has a blur, permanent disadvantage to attack it anyway. This flower's got it all, man. Fuck with the corpse flower. And the trick will be to put them at range because they've got range on their attacks. I may actually spawn these in the first round. That might make things pretty juicy. You can have only one of them do its corrupting visions, the other one do its psychic strikes. Force the players out a little bit, and then the second round you get the big boys coming in. Kind of nuts. Make sure to put them off in distance. Be close. Depending on where the I assume they're gonna like surround him and protect him, but maybe not. The cool thing is the creatures will be drawn to the person crafting the wand, right? So all my things are spawning around here. The players don't necessarily know they have to sit here and protect. They might, in fact, guard and think this guy's gonna fuck with them, and that's gonna be the big twist. Is that my keeper will probably just sit there and laugh and mock at him, you know, cheering on his side, but otherwise not bothering to lend a hand. Except for maybe if he really starts, you know, fucking up the wand and be like, oh, we got a chance of taking him down, then he might enter the battlefield. Maybe that'll be my final, like, spawn, is like the keeper himself, or sorry, the Nether Oak. This thing just immersion wise, it should be the Nether Oak, not the keeper. Okay, it does say Nether Oak on there. And then he can actually join. Two, you're gonna one. I want to put you way down here. Can I see you from the assuming Ben is here crafting, or maybe he's here. Oh yeah. That's right, I had the trees not. Pretty dark in here though. I guess that was by design. No lights in the Arboretum right now. But shouldn't there be? I guess it was supposed to be like a starry night thing. I'm of two minds of having it lit up or not. Here, number 2. Okay. So round 1, I think we've got the carnivorous sods and the gloom. Are they gloom flowers? Yeah, gloom flower, which fine, but should work. Also fun to use plant creatures that players don't really know anything about or haven't seen before. I mean, there's just so many creatures to use now. Why rely on things like twig blights and although Shambling Mound's cool. 6 carnivorous sod. Do I have 6? I thought I only had 5 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I only have 5. Maybe I should have had a 6th one. Wrote down my notes. 6 of them spawn. 5 carnivorous sod and 2 gloom flowers. Round 2 will be 1 assassin vine 1 shambling mound. In round 3 will be 2 treants. Round 4, if needed. Actually, even round 3 is if needed. These are like game 6s and 7s here. Round 4 can be maybe another treant and the Nether Oak himself. And then by then, hopefully they've won, because this is going to be a pain in the ass if it's gotten to that point. Like, make those checks. I mean, between Flash of Genius, Bardic Inspiration, I really don't see them struggling with it, which is why I'm only going to plan on like 2 or 3 rounds. I think that would make for better pacing anyway. No Gloomhaven oozes ever. Which are basically like, I guess it would be ochre jellies, the ones that can split. But they need ways of just splitting on their own, I guess. And then when they split, they don't have their hit points. They create one that's a slight like hit point reduction, and they all have the ability to like regenerate sometimes. That would be some Gloomhaven oozes. We're gonna round 3. Possibly. I mean, it depends on where I set the DC. What's the DC for crafting the wand? Is it, if it's a 15, I think they'll do it I think they'll do it in 3 checks. Maybe they'll need 4 checks. Because I assume if Edmund does it, he's got a +5. If they make Valen do it, I'd kind of be shocked if Edmund doesn't do it. Valen is a +4. Unless I use a specific Arcana check, in which case it might even be better. She's got a +6. I don't... Edmund have Arcana? Surprisingly not. He's sticking to his science thing. So +5. So if I do a DC 15, which seems like such an just baseline check for doing anything, then I think they've got a 50% chance of just doing it without any help, and that's without Flash of Genius helping, which gives them like a +5, or Bardic Inspiration, which is a frickin' you get to roll a D10 to get a check done. I think they're not coordinated to have a plan. That could also be true. We'll see. You know, they shocked me with the chain lightning thing. They rallied around and had a really quick plan with that one. So they managed to work around that. You know what I forgot? Lord Marbury. I fucking always forget this. Stupid Pegasus who's a thorn in my side. Put a thorn in your side, Marbury. Do. Stupid Pegasus. Well, he did get injured last time. I don't know if after the short rest we'll let him heal up any after that. We'll see. Hopefully it's a fun event and it's a little bit different and it's a social thing and a combat thing. And they'll get their Nether wand, so it's a main quest thing. What I don't have is any treasure for them here. The treasure is basically the Nether wand, which, well, shit. Do I make that a magic item or no? And maybe the Nether wand is actually a magical item. Maybe they deserve to get one after this. It doesn't actually say it is. You could just, I mean, a wand. Maybe it could be. I don't have 3 different checks. Oh, that's interesting. That's not a bad idea. Like, throughout the process, you have to harness different kinds of magics. That's an interesting thought. If one person keeps, I mean, the idea was one person was going to keep crafting the wand, but that definitely throw them for a curveball. Especially if some of them don't use the same stat, which I think comes to mental checks. Most of them are intelligence and just a few wisdom things. Nature is still intelligence. History is still intelligence. But people could be proficient or not proficient in those things. Yeah. Arcana and Nature are also the two that I would think of to do beyond that. Make somebody roll just a generic charisma check to try and just steal your willpower against like the plants trying to stop you from doing it. Because a wand is just an arcane focus. That's, yeah, channel of arcanes. You have to make it somewhat interesting. Maybe you could make it like a +2 wand. That would be worth equipping. Edmund, you know what? Edmund right now is equipped to a +1 wand, so that would actually be just a straight upgrade. I'm really scared to give it actual like abilities over plant life. Although they'll never come across plant life again. Alright, I need to give it some kind of other abilities, but now I'm thinking maybe I need to turn this wand into something that's worthy of having to go through this freaking ritual for it, right? Not just a quest item. Or is it good enough to just have it be a quest item? Blights plants. I could probably get away with it just because I don't see them ever having to fight plant creatures again. Although Blight works against anything. Cool check to shape the wand. Nature check to prime the wand. Arcana check to enchant the wand. That's really good, Sylvan. What is a tool check? Is that... There's only so many tools. A Fletcher thing or something. He's got alchemist supplies. Tinker's tools, I guess, could work. Yeah, and then somebody could use the help action for sure. They're useless, man. I guess Tinker's tools would fall into that. And would he use intelligence for that? You're essentially just making a proficient intelligence check. Gosh, he'd be honestly really good at all these things though. The Thieves' Tools, the Nature, and the Arcana. He's not even proficient in Nature and Arcana and still has +5s just because of his intelligence. Rocks. But yeah, hopefully they get Edmund to do it. I mean, I hope it creates a cool situation where basically one player is having to do a thing, and it's exciting for them. And I think I am liking the idea of having them do different checks because that at least puts a little bit of a I gotta do that. But you know, I think it's a cool twist at first, but then the not so cool twist is like he's got basically the same modifier for all of those, so it turns out to not really mattering too much. But I'm also maybe leaning towards the idea of letting the wand be a proper magic item, and that way it's kind of worth going through the whole process here. But I'll have to think about what I can do that's not going to upset the balance too much. And yet, I mean, they're basically crafting a magic item by surviving against a bunch of creatures, so I feel like a +2 wand is the very least I can do, which would be a straight upgrade for him because he's got a wand up to War Mage +1. So a +1 to all your things is certainly not a bad idea. Even with my late start time, I think we're just about reaching the end of what I can do, and honestly, I am tired because, like I said, I just came in from my daughter's first softball game of the season before I ran in to do this stream. So thank you all very much for dealing with me running in here late. And thank you to the patrons as always. If you enjoy the content, please check out patreon.com/RogueWatson. Shouts to platinum patrons Joe, Will, Thomas, Stan, Brandon, Genocider, David, Eclectic, Roleplay, Roll, Christopher, Brian, William, David, Corey, Koa, 1337, Matthew, Big Nut, John, Chris, Scott, Gene, and Eric. And gold patrons RPG, Papercrafts, Pretty Boy, and Yuma, Marcus, Dead Lizard, Lion, Sam, Lumpy Spuds, Jerome, Nathan, Fazlica, Tortoise, Scott, Ruffus, Caroline, and William. Thank you all very much for your support. I will see you all for Thursday's edition of Crafting Icewind Dale.